Hi guys, good evening. I am Shubham, as many of you all know me, and I'm the host for today. We are the Expert Geeks, that is a new YouTube channel, started with Abhishek, who is my videographer for today and forever. So we aim to bring you content from the fields like tech, science, startups, and many more. And it will be in the form of podcasts. All right. So today, our first guest. As the first guest, we have Mr. Damodar Patnekar, who is the CEO of Bodami, which is a very famous startup in Goa if you are from Goa, and it has won many awards, including the national awards, few Goan awards, and MSME awards, etc. But awards come later, right? First, it all begins from the school days. So, sir, how was your school life? Where did you study? And something about this.
School life, I belong to a place called as Konkolim, which is around 10 kilometers from Margao. I did my schooling from Our Lady of Health High School, Konkolim, up till fourth standard, and then as a family, we shifted to Margao, where I was in Batikar Model High School, Margao, with my sister. So my sister
Right,
is also a twin with me. She's
right,
5 minutes elder to me, and we both studied together up till 10th standard
right.
in Margao.
Same class.
Same class from 5th till 10th standard.
Nice.
And especially when you're growing up, you can't make too much of mischiefs in school because whatever you do, it is all reported at home. So I
Yes.
was a very decent, student
The
in school.
obedient first
The
bencher.
the the technically obedient, person because I was always watched on by my sister.
Right.
So her name is Aparna.
So, this is about school life. And then, higher secondary, you took science or?
Yeah, so I took science. That was from Chogale College, Margao.
Hmm.
So 11, 12, we had a ball of a time. We were a group of around 12 people, exceptionally good in sports, exceptionally good in studies and extracurricular activities. So the friends group which I got actually shaped me, in before my engineering because they were equally good at doing everything, right from sports to studies as well.
You still play sports?
I used to play professional sports. I used to play for I played for Goa.
Right.
I played football for
Football.
Goa. I am professionally trained footballer for around 10 to 12 years,
Nice.
from Kunkolim. And then for last 15 years I've been playing professional cricket, leather ball.
How was the switch from football to cricket?
Football is quite intense if you are, and especially
Yeah.
when you are growing up, you have to put a lot of effort. Cricket is a little easier, but cricket is a game of more talent and skill. So
Yeah.
you have to train quite regular if you want to be in touch and score really well.
I used to play cricket but never got selected even for the school team.
Okay, you should try your luck now.
Maybe. So, fine. So, how did you decide you want to be an engineer? Or just like many people, don't know anything, just go for engineering?
Yeah, so usually what happens, I mean, if you look at some statistics, uh, I mean, 50% of the students end up taking wrong career choices, right?
Yeah.
In my case, when we were growing up, it was two or three careers which were little flamboyant compared to others. So one was engineering, the other was medicine,
Hmm.
third was architecture, for example.
Yeah.
In 8th standard is what my dad got me a computer, so-called computer, the first generation computer. So, if you know the computers of 386, 486, Pentium 1 series and all, like
Hmm.
way before you were born.
They're
So
still learning 386 in school,
yeah,
though.
so that's where,
Okay.
he got me a 386 and then a 486, and then it became quite inquisitive that what's there inside of a computer, and how does it run. So that's where it started in terms of understanding what goes behind a computer and so on and so forth. That's where I thought we should go for science and look at engineering as
Go for
a career.
engineering and
Yeah,
then computer
yeah,
engineering because of that
yeah. And
computer.
thankfully, what happened? All my mates also went for engineering. So, you know, so together as a flock, we went to engineering. That's also what happened. But eventually, there was a liking as well, in
So
this subject.
engineering was PCC.
Engineering was from PCC, Padre Constantine College of Engineering, Verna, and it was into computer as a stream. It was quite new at that point in time, around 25 years back, and I'm
Yeah,
from the
computer was not just that time.
yeah, just setting up, and then there was a lot of
Even I think PCC was quite new that time.
PCC was very new. It was a new campus there in the old college before it shifted to a newer campus. So I'm from the second batch, and it was one of the most upcoming streams that point in time after electronics. Yeah.
Right. So, were you a first bencher or a last bencher in your engineering life? Because people tend to change before engineering, after engineering. I mean, in the
Yeah.
school days, sometimes most of them are 90% students, sit on the first bench. But then when it comes to engineering, I think everyone goes back.
Yeah, so school days was quite different. I'll tell you. School days, I was a very ordinary person, very ordinary, student. Because I used to play a lot, and whatever required for studies at minimum we used to do, because otherwise there are parents at home watching. But engineering was like a quite different, life changing kind of an experience. First year was a big bomb, because when you transition from 12th standard to first
More
year,
excited.
yeah, the excitement is there, but because of the place you come from, like 10th and 12th, and you completely transform into, like, a higher level of education, you kind of, some people get a
You feel
setback.
like you are a grown up now. Something
Yeah.
different.
No, but you also get a setback, like there's so much to study, so
Yeah.
much to make up for studies and all, and you would have not got used to that level of studies. And also first semester was quite a challenge for many of us, basically. But then I think the second year, I topped the college from
Nice.
then on. But I was always a backbencher, with a very close friend of mine who is also a best friend right now. So and because of the fact that we used to make a lot of mischief, sitting on the last bench, eat tiffins, throw chalks on teachers, and many other things which I can't disclose here. But but yeah, I was always a last bencher, honestly. Party hard, and work harder,
Yeah,
kind of
just
a person.
enjoy.
Yeah.
Right.
Enjoy life to the fullest.
Right. So I don't know how your batch was, like how was the syllabus, but when even I am a computer engineer, you know that. Starting computer engineer, not completed engineer. But when I was in 11, 12, we used to think, okay, I'll go for B computer engineering, and all I will do in the first year is start coding. But when I went to the first year, even though mine was online, but we have engineering graphics, workshops, and those kind of things. So to work on the lathe machine and plumbing, welding, etc. So you all used to have that?
Yeah, so our thing was quite different, because first year was very common. So common means you get a flavor of all the
Yeah, that's still there.
other departments, like like civil, you do
Yeah, one
drawings, for
subject of civil,
example.
one subject of
You do a lathe in terms of
yeah,
mechanical, for example. So we get exposure on all the subjects, which is, I think, which is also
pretty much
pretty much same as of now. But the kind of languages we used to work was quite different. So there was other languages called as Prolog. I don't know if you
We still have it.
remember. Okay, that was like
We had one experiment for our exam system.
Okay. Prolog is a language which is the father of AI, basically. That's how, that is the first language of AI, which is what we used to look at and code in. But we never imagined that, 20 years now, we're talking about AI and data science, which is something which we started at that point in time. And there were other languages like C, C++. A lot of curriculum was, theoretical, and with a lesser exposure to industry at that point in time. I don't know if you remember, but 2002 and 2006
I was just born that time.
Yeah, you were born, but it was one of the biggest dot-com burst in the IT industry,
Right.
where absolutely shops and companies used to close down overnight. Basically, people were out of jobs, and as different colleges in Goa, they hardly got a single company for placements. So that was the time we actually passed out. At one point in time, it was fun, because we had many things we could do at our hand, and free time. But the other thing also was, we were quite tense on what next to do, basically.
Okay, just because we touched on the topics of AI, so it's booming, right? And the new thing is ChatGPT. What is your opinion? How do you view ChatGPT?
So ChatGPT is quite evolving. It is generative AI, basically, and next 5 years it is going to transform the way people do things, whether it is processing of common jobs, or understanding knowledge, and using that knowledge to kind of solve problems. But the fact remains that as humans, there is a lot of human touch and human intelligence which is required in jobs. So if people are thinking that it will take away jobs from us, I think that's a very wrong notion. It will make jobs and lives easier. It will make customer experience transformed into next level. But jobs and people and the human touch will always remain in parallel to the chat GPT.
Yeah, right. I think even if you ask ChatGPT for a piece of code, it's like a general code. So you still need your brain to use that piece of code and put it in your project.
Correct.
And make that project work. So yeah, you should still need a human.
Correct.
Right. So next, after the engineering, did you go for a job or?
No, I actually what happened, as I told you, there was a dot-com bust.
Yeah.
So we were playing. I think it was six good months we were playing cricket. We were not doing anything. So one day what happened was my dad was asking me like, what's your plan? Yeah, what's your plan? So I said, okay, evening Yogesh ke ghar jana hai. At night we're going up for dinner. He said, no, I want to check like what are you thinking about your life? I said, okay, like life I have to think. So I had no answers. Honestly, I had no answers. And we were not even knowing this definition of what is IIT, IIM, where people are aware of these things in 7th, 8th standard. And we were happily roaming around. So I went to my friend Yogesh, and he was shirtless. I remember that episode. He was not wearing a shirt. He was standing on a gate. So I went and asked him, so what's your plan, right? तुमको life में क्या करना है करके. So he had heard about this term called as MBA from his cousin. MBA was that time very upcoming trend, and I mean I was not even knowing the definition of MBA, but that's when he told me that after MBA you can become a manager. I said okay. Then if you are doing MBA, then I will also do an MBA. And then I came home and I told my dad, I want to become an MBA. So my dad is asking, what is MBA? I said, Master of Business Administration. And that is exactly when we decided that we wanted to be, MBA graduates. It was not by choice or well thought of, but it just happened because of a chance, basically.
So CAT exam.
We answered CAT. It was just a month to go for CAT, and we doomed big time. Did not get good grades. But then there was something called as XAT, Xavier's admission test.
Yeah, I think it's still there.
It is still there, yeah. So through that, we scored really well in the next 2 months. We got through, we only applied for 2 colleges. In that, we got through one of the college.
Right. So which was that college?
The college was St. Joseph's College of Business Administration, Bangalore.
Bangalore.
Yeah.
Right.
That is also a place where, Indian Institute of Management used to be out of St. Joseph campus.
IIMB.
IIMB, yeah.
Yeah. So, same question. After MBA, a job?
After MBA, I got a campus placement in a company called as MetLife India Insurance. It was a sales job. Okay. I am a major in marketing and HR. So I'm a gold medalist in marketing, gold medalist in HR. I took HR because I wanted to focus on marketing. And by the time I had kind of forgotten that I'm also having an IT background. I was so much into marketing focus that I wanted to be to do something in marketing on sales. So I took up a placement with MetLife. And the first job will always tell you what you should not do. So that was a good learning experience. The first job taught me, like whether I really love sales or love marketing or love talking to people or have the thrill for it. That's something which I learned. So I did it for a good 8 months.
Yeah.
I had some medical issues, so I came back home. But then, honestly, I'll tell you that I took a break of 1 year from there because I just wanted to decide what is that I really want to do with my life. So it took me 1 year to decide what I really wanted to do after a break.
I saw many of these Shark Tank episodes, and in one of those pitches, I don't remember the startup's name, but it was something with related to sports and stuff. And they are engineers. They are 2 co-founders, and they said they are engineers. So I think it was Shark Aman Gupta who asked them, "What did you do after engineering?" So they said, "Engineering के बाद 1 साल सोचा क्या करना है." So I can relate this.
Yeah, very much. because क्या होता है ना, you go through the flow that you start engineering, like your videographer, he started engineering,
Yeah.
but his passion is something else. I'll tell you some interesting statistics, right? 70% of the people who join corporates are very frustrated with their job. Yeah, that's because their liking is somewhere else, and by the nature of the decision they've taken because of their parents or because of their peers, they'll end up somewhere else basically. So it is always good to follow your passion, do what you like doing in terms of your interest, and understand your skills, and then take a call.
Right. So I was actually scrolling on LinkedIn before I came here, and I saw some 8 years or 10 years of job at Wipro. So after this 1 year break, which you said, you went to Wipro.
Yeah, so I wanted to understand what am I good at, right? So I've done my engineering in computers, so I knew that IT as a space, I would do well because by heart I'm a developer. I wanted to be in IT, but also because I've done my MBA. What you can actually do is look at problems in a very different way. How do you look at problems and solve problems basically? How do you look at processes and automate processes and so on? So that's where I wanted that's where I decided that I wanted to be in something called as business analysis or business consulting. It's a very niche profile for somebody who does an MBA and also has an IT background, where you solve business problem using IT. So it's a blend of both.
Right. So I think I'm done with the engineering questions and before Bodami question, but I think I missed one question. So this actually had a story. So I went to one of the weddings, and I met one of my relatives who is actually your friend. So Gaurish. So I was in the wedding and we were actually enjoying that wedding, and suddenly he came to me and he said, uh, "You met Damu?" I said, "No." And the thing why I actually got confused was we saw Damu Naik there in that wedding. So I said, "No, why will I meet Damu? I don't even know him." So then he was like, "Hey, no, you know him. No, I gave you his number and all." I said, "Huh, his nickname is Damu." I said, I call him Damodar sir. So I want to know this story. Is there a story behind this nickname Damu?
So nickname is what this song is very famous in Konkani, right? How Saiba Poltari Vaita
Yeah.
Damu Cha Lognai Kota. Damu as a word is very famous. So usually this people who keep big names like me, right? Damodar Patnekar become abused in terms of different names. So at office I'm called as Damo, Damo, and here in Goa usually short form is Damu basically.
Damu, yeah.
But my actual name is something different, which is Ame, Amey.
There are many amazing
Yeah. So and my sister is Aparna, so we are actually both A's, double A's. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I scrolled your LinkedIn and I saw about Wipro. You worked I think 10, 12 years something in Wipro. What were your job roles and how did you get into Wipro?
Yeah. So Wipro, happened because I decided to become a business analyst, and business analyst is a role where you blend, technology with business. You have to understand business. You have to look at processes in business and develop solutions for the business. So as a role, uh, this role is only in top IT companies. If you look at Goa as such, 20 years back, these roles or the term itself was non-existent. So I had to apply outside Goa. Applied in a couple of places like Wipro Technologies, Infosys, TCS, and L&T. And I had got offers from two companies at that time, Wipro Technologies and L&T. I chose Wipro for sheerly because of Mr. Azim Premji and the kind of vision he carries for India.
Right. Uh,
Role wise, if you have to ask me, right? So I started as a business analyst. One of the fascinating things about that role, that you get to travel. So I through Wipro traveled to almost 15 to 20 countries, and where we used to get to work with clients, Fortune 100 companies, look at their business, look at what kind of problems they're facing, understand what kind of solutions are required, and develop solutions through our technology teams basically. So that experience was phenomenal because that's actually like a foundation for me to start my own venture into Bodami. But the seeds of it were actually in Wipro, where we used to use technology to solve problems in real life and make
Right.
life easier for people.
right. So when you were into Wipro, that time you decided about Bodami.
Wipro, what really happened was we used to work in projects, like how IT projects are. So
Hmm.
that work went on till around 11 odd years. After that, I picked up a bigger role in Wipro, which was heading a practice. So when you head a practice, which was called as digital or automation practice, it works like a company in itself. Where you're told to lead that particular smaller, unit of a company,
Yeah.
basically. So you get a feel of, how many people to take, what kind of resources to look at, how much money is required for investment, what should be the business target, what should be the strategy to go to market with the solutions you make, and also that was like a miniature version of doing my own little startup in Wipro itself, basically. So that's where, at some point in time, I thought that I should venture something into my own, and there were also reasons to it. Number one, entrepreneurship is always a dream which everybody should live at least once.
Yeah.
Number two is, I belong to Goa, so as a place, I wanted to always come back to my grassroots. Number three is family, where my parents wanted some support. So I thought it's best to start something, and have all these three things meet up, and that therefore my startup Bodami happened.
Right. So just that second point, Goa is your like home, and Bangalore probably a second home. How do you compare Bangalore
Yeah.
and Goa?
So as of now, I've equally lived 20 odd years in Bangalore
Bangalore,
and 20 odd years in Goa. So
yeah,
I'm equally a Bangalorean and equally a Goan, if you
Goa.
ask me now. Bangalore
But you
life
can't speak Kannada.
is, I can't speak a word of Kannada. I don't know
Right.
Kannada. I find picking up new languages quite difficult, and Kannada
Hmm.
as such is a little difficult language, though
Yeah.
I've stayed here for long. Uh, but yeah, Bangalore life is quite different. It's a cosmo life. You get to meet with different kind of people. It's more sophisticated. Access to anything per se, right? In terms of good polished life is quite there.
Yeah.
But in the bottom of the heart, you miss that typical Goan boy who wants to eat outside, the
Yes.
typical roast omelette, enjoy nature, for
Just
example,
chill out,
just
go
chill
on the
out,
beach,
yeah,
just
go on the beach and
start
all that,
roaming
yeah.
anywhere.
So if you stay in a concrete jungle, and we used to always come back maybe for Ganesh Chaturthi and Diwali.
Hmm.
That was a time we used to chill out. But eventually, wanted to always come back and settle back in Goa.
Right. So, can you explain something about Bodami? Like, what does Bodami do and stuff?
So I'll tell you the reason of doing Bodhami. Um,
Hmm.
so what we noticed now is lot many people who come to Wipro, where we used to hire, they are not even aware of core skills which are required for doing their jobs well. And there is a lot of gap between when you pass out versus what the industry needs, basically. So that's the first thing which we noticed. The other thing we noticed was 70% of the people who work are really frustrated with the kind of work, because their choices they make is not really right. Now, if you try to look at the bigger numbers, right,
Hmm.
96% of schools in India, they do not have access to career counseling. You would have not even heard of career counseling in places like Canacona, for example, right, Bicholim and all. Right? It's only known in the tier 1, tier 2 places. So the problem is plenty when you go to the bottom of the pyramid. One of the things you can look at is, especially when people pass out 8th standard or 10th standard or 12th standard, they need to decide on the right career. Now, this career decision is something which is a very scientific process, and it is based on data. So you should know what you are good at in terms of your skills. You should know your interest. You should know your personality, and accordingly, then you should decide what is right for you, where you will shine well. This concept, because it needs a lot of scale and intervention, uh, and there was nobody working at the grassroots level, which is the bottom of the pyramid, the place where all the India, most of the India resides, right? Underprivileged, rural, semi-rural, and that is a sector we picked up, and we thought that we will do something to solve this problem.
Right.
That is where Bodhami was formed, to solve the problem of giving clarity of students of what careers they should choose.
Right. So, I think it's around 5 years since then.
We just finished our 5th anniversary.
Yes.
Yeah. last month.
So how do you see these 5 years? Successful?
Yeah, 5 years has been phenomenal because when something you have in mind, right? You start with a very small idea, and then you have a very big vision to meet. I think going back by those 5 years, we have been uh, successful in a lot of dimensions. Example, we have products which are very matured in nature right now as we speak. And secondly, we've already been awarded for the kind of work we are doing. Uh, as we speak, more than 40,000 students have come and taken career assessments on our platform. We have partners across 250 cities in India.
Yeah.
We also are into 5 countries as we speak.
Yeah.
From awards and accolades perspective, we are the only Goan startup to receive a national award in a very special category. It is called as rural impact, which means the government is focused on ensuring that the rural fraternity is taken care of, and that's exactly where we won a national award, which is access to open education in the rural market. We've also been recipient of the government of Goa Goan Achievers Award, which is only given to 2 or 3 Goans across 60 years of liberation. So fortunately, we have been also able to get that. We've also got MSME awards for being one of the best MSMEs in champions of change for driving rural impact across the country.
Right. So first, congratulations on all these awards.
Thank you.
I actually had the question, but you told it. So right. Also with this, I have seen Bodhami and you have organized many workshops and seminars. So just a gist of all the workshops that you all have organized.
Yeah. See, there is a reason to conduct workshop or or these seminars basically. What usually happens is whenever you go to colleges, right? The students, very youthful basically, they need to be given clarity on what next, for example, or how should they go about career planning.
Yeah.
Right. It is equally applicable not just for 10th standard or 12th standard, applicable for engineering graduates, applicable for MBA graduates, and so on. So if you have to put an effort to give that clarity, and the only way it is possible is to conduct workshops in this space. Now, some people want to get into entrepreneurship. Some people want to start their own profession. Some people want to get into a job, but be better job ready person. So the intent of this workshop is to ensure that everybody who hears us either is a person who is better skilled or having better clarity, or understands what to get into, how to be an entrepreneur, or what should be done to get into entrepreneurship. So that is the intent, and it is all out of social impact. I mean, we don't charge anything for any of these sessions.
Right. Yeah. So I think on Facebook or something, I saw your name. I don't know what exactly that was, but it was a Goa University circular, and your name was there, I think, to design the syllabus or something. So just tell me, like, what was that? Well, I forgot.
Yeah, so if you look at where India is moving to, right? We already have 1 lakh startups in the country, more than 50,000 active startups. Government of India, as such, is focusing a lot of attention on how to build entrepreneurship. How do you make people self-employed, basically?
Yeah.
If you look at like engineering as a trade, for example, or commerce as a trade, right? We are very good at engineering, or we are very good at commerce, but we lack that view about knowing engineering. How do I start up engineering startup, or knowing commerce? How do I start up a commerce startup, for example? So the government of Goa is introducing 2 new subjects in entrepreneurship.
Right.
So they are called as innovation and startups, which is the first subject, and the second subject is called as agripreneurship. So both these startups, agripreneurship is agriculture related startups. Yeah. So both these subjects need external intervention to look at designing of the syllabus and what it takes to to start a startup and scale a startup, for example. And that's where the Vice Chancellor had invited me and Bodhami to help out with the syllabus formulation, and also teach the teachers in terms of what should be covered practically, because as a national award winning startup, we have a good experience in terms of passing back to the society, and how do somebody start and scale startups basically. So that was the intent, and we are also part of the board of studies, Goa University.
Yeah, right. So just this thing, okay. So you completed 5 years with Bodami, and let me actually take you back to the first financial year of Bodami. So mostly, what we see with startups is the first year is like either in loss or just about equal. So how was Bodami? Was it profitable or little
Yeah,
bit?
so see, you have to look at different kinds of startups.
Hmm.
So let's say if you start with a grocery, you think about grocery as a startup. Day one you get revenue. Day one customers are coming to you, right? You talk about photography, for example. Day one, let's say the moment you get a client, you become profitable.
Yes.
Right? IT startups are a little different. So in IT startups, what you build is a product.
Yes.
So there is a product gestation period where you have to build the product, which usually takes around 2 to 3 years. So in this 2 to 3 years is what you have to be patient and invest your time in building the product. And what we have built is also a SaaS-based, AI-enabled product basically. Yes. That has taken us time to an extent of around 2.5 years to build, and post that, we've started going live basically. Right. So the first 3 years, eventually because there is no revenue, it's gone into development. So it was a typical loss, right? Right. One of the things I wanted to tell you is most of the startups, 9 out of 10 startups, close down in 3 years.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
So
that is the point I wanted to.
Yeah. So you have to. What I'm saying is, you have to have a longer vision of what you really want to do, and you have to think of it like a longer journey, and what is the larger impact you want to create. So after 3 years, after putting all the effort, is where your journey is going to start. And that's where we started. So we are just, if you logically see, we're just 2.5 years into our journey right now. And we built around 5 to 6 products. And, in less than 4 years, we have also got a national award. Yes. Which means we're doing something which is right. Yes. Which means we are doing something which people appreciate and accept, in terms of the impact we're trying to create or the value we're trying to add, right? So which is quite motivating for us to start and scale this journey to the next level, right? Yeah.
So what is the end goal now?
So the end goal, logically, if I look at the next 5 years, I want to look at least 1 crore students getting counseled or getting clarity on my platform. One of the things you will notice is in the last 5 years, we have always been a bootstrap company. We have not taken a funding. Whenever you are in a startup, right, you want to become rich very fast, and the fastest way to become rich is you get investors, you get money onboarded basically, right, and you scale very fast. Yeah. You think about what we are trying to do as Bodhami. Bodhami is a social impact startup, which means we look at the bottom of the pyramid, we look at underprivileged rural sector, semi-rural sector and all. Now imagine that the moment we get investors on board, we have to give returns to the investors, which means that the target segment you're looking at has to change from this rural, semi-rural to a little urban, people, rich kids, for example, or rich parents who can actually afford, right? We did not want to do that. We did not want to dilute our vision of, Bodhami. We wanted to stay bootstrapped and grounded, so that we are not under pressure of any investors of returning money, for example, and focus on our vision. So we understand that the growth will be a little slower, sequential, not very fast, but we'll be happy at the end of the day with a peaceful sleep that we are meeting our vision, which is our end in mind. The 5 years target is around 1 crore, career counselings. Right. Yeah.
So anyone wants to take this career counseling, so they need to visit your website.
Yeah. So I'll tell you what we actually do. Yeah. If you look at a life cycle of a student, right, you just take your life cycle. You were in 8th standard. So in 10th standard, you need to decide whether I want to go to science or a commerce or arts, or sports, etc. Then once you choose a stream in 10th standard, let's say, 11th, 12th, you will prepare for your examinations, whether you are engineering entrance or NEET preparation, for example. Some people who are not financially well, they need scholarships, for example. Yeah. let's say you choose a stream like engineering, you still want skill development programs to become skill ready, for example. So you need corporate readiness to get ready for corporates. So once you're ready for corporate, then you need a placement. So finally, when you're coming out of college, you need some help or intervention on placements to get you placed, to get you a good job. So if you look at this life cycle, right? So every student follows this life cycle of 8th standard, 10th standard, preparation for examinations, for example, readiness for corporate, scholarships, and then finally getting placed and becoming a very successful individual. So in this life cycle, what really happens is you have points of support which a student would need. So let's say 8th or 10th standard career counseling, you need online learning or test preparation, for example. You need scholarships and at some point in time. You need corporate readiness and you need placement. So what we have done is, in this life cycle, we have developed digital platforms. So we developed a career counseling platform, online learning platform. We've developed a corporate readiness platform, scholarship platform, and placement platform. And all this power of all these platforms we give on a single account, which is given to an educator. So may it be school or a teacher or a trainer or a counselor,
The educator has to register on your...
So the educator can come freely register on our platform and use any of our platforms, either using their brand or using our branding on a pay-per-use model, and provide support to students in any of these areas in the life cycle, whether it is career counseling, whether it is readiness for corporates, or whether it is placements or scholarships.
So do you all give any training to these educators?
So what we do is, we have our own certification programs where we certify other educators, in terms of they being professionally qualified to do, let's say, career counseling, for example, because it is a science which you have to learn. You have to understand the technology, processes, frameworks. So more than 2,200 odd professionals across India have taken our certification program and got certified through our signature program, which is called as dual certification program.
Right. Right. So are there any principles that employees at Bodami follow? Firstly, I think the question is, most of your Bodami employees, is it work from home or they come to your office?
So in COVID, what happened, I'll tell you, we used to work out of Goan and Bangalore. And then this COVID happened, all of a surprise for all of us. We had an office in Bangalore as well. But then everybody decided, they will go back to their hometowns. And for us also, from a safety of an employee perspective, everybody started working from home. And then the business continued for work from home for last 2 years since COVID was there. Now when we want to restart operations physically, we took a survey of people and asked them whether they really want to come back and also work like part-time remotely, part-time physical. The unanimous answer was they didn't want to come back to office. So everybody was so comfortable in the new environment that as a policy, we have work from home policies for the lifetime.
Work from has become the new normal kind of.
That's because you get to spend time with your loved ones, equally have balance in your life and so on.
You can be at home. You can wear, I think, any shirt, any pen, just sit there in front of your computer, work. You can, it can be like a movie theater, so you're working also, or you're eating popcorn or samosas nowadays. So I think that's the good thing about work from home. The bad thing about work from home now, I like to know from you.
So I met my employees only after 1.5 years physically. I'd never seen them, neither met them. So some of the new employees here in Goa, I could only meet them after 1.5 years. And the next meeting happened, only after like 2 years. So if you ask me, I've just met met them three times physically
in the past 3 years.
In the past 3 years, I've been talking to them every day over the phone. So that's how we work.
Right. So is there any principles and all that are followed in your company, like any strict principles, something?
Yeah, so there are few things which we as a company follow in terms of our value system, right? Number one is we need to be very truthful in whatever we do, which means that we call spade is a spade basically. So whether it is on features what we offer on the platform, whether it is pricing on the platform, and so on, everything is very transparent, and we have it all listed on our platform. and any interactions which happens with our customers per se, for example, or fraternity, it is all ensure that it is very transparent and truthful, basically. Second thing is, because we work from home, communication gaps should not happen. So we have to ensure that whenever any smallest of the issue is there, is all reported, for example, or any help is required, is all sounded off, basically. So communication has to be top notch, especially when you work from home, in terms, whether it is in terms of issues, status reports, work, and so on and so forth, basically. Third thing is a lot of hard work, because if you really want to do well, you need to follow some routine and follow it very religiously. Whether it is talking to customers, whether it is looking at servicing aspects, whether it is giving priority to demos and so on and so forth. We follow a routine which is very, very stringent, and we do it day in and day out in a lot of committed and dedicated manner, which keeps us going, basically.
Right. So your second point, it had the word communication. So this actually reminds me of communication skills lectures in our colleges. So you all used to have it?
Communication skills lectures, especially when you're in college.
Yeah.
You
would have
not
like
even
a couple of times in the week.
Yeah. But here in our college, we never used to listen to any of the communication lectures.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
I remember the only time I gave a presentation was in fourth year on something called as we used to have this OHP sheets, and we used to write the presentation points on the OHP sheet projected on a projector. There was no computers or not a projector at that time. That's how we used to give presentations that time.
Yeah.
So that was the only communication done on stage for 4 years in engineering.
Nice. We tend to have a lot of presentations, and so we have to keep it in our brains. Otherwise, it doesn't work. So, along with delivering workshops, you have judged many competitions. So, I think some are pitching kind of competitions, some are technical projects and stuff. So, what are the things that you actually see lacking in the students, or what points that you will like to make here?
Yeah, so logically, what happens, right? You will also realize it hard way that number one, you have to do good work. Number one, but the most important thing is you should know how to market that good work.
Yes.
Right. So let's say you would have seen some people only
Marketing
working.
is more important now.
Yeah. So
yeah, I think Aman Gupta is the guy who says it. बेचना आना चाहिए, product कोई भी हो.
Correct. So बेचने के लिए क्या होता है ना कि you have to do the good work. That is minimum, right? And after that, you have to market that good work in a way that people understand and appreciate that work. So especially when it comes to any work which you do as a startup or as a person, you should deliver something called as value, a value to the customer or value to to the product or whatever. So as long as you keep delivering value and you're very clear about the value and the impact that value can make, I think that is what is one biggest thing you should understand. Understand the value you can deliver, and market that value to the customer.
Yes. Right. So just a few last 2-3 questions. So what is that one or two advices that you would give to an engineer? And yeah, first you can tell me about engineers.
See, engineers, right? They have extremely good traits. Let's say, whether it is civil or computers. So you are good at what you're doing.
There's also a saying that engineers are good at everything except engineering.
No, but logically, this is a very common thing you would see, that engineers are good at the traits they are taught. So let's say whether it is civil, whether it is computers or electronics or IT, you'd be good at maybe some website designing or some coding, etc., or some electronic development. What engineers lack is a lot more which goes into making them ready. There are 10 such skills which are required for engineering to make them ready for the corporate.
Yeah.
Which is what we call as the 21st century world, basically.
Yes.
So if you have to get ready for 21st century, there are a lot many other things. What are those things? You have to look at aspects like your multitasking, for example, team management, exceptionally good communication. You should know gaming. You should know video editing, for example. Creativity, for example, problem solving skills. You should be extremely good analytical and logical to be able to comprehend any issues at work. You should be able to market yourself quite better. So public speaking is extremely important. So if you add some of these traits, including coding and robotics, for example, to the core engineering traits, holistically, I think you'll become a better engineer who would do well and what the industry would need, basically. So that would be an advice for engineers to look at non-engineering skills which are required on top of engineering.
Right.
And so for the other question was, I think, for entrepreneurs.
The budding entrepreneurs.
Yeah. See, entrepreneurship, people have a notion that, like everybody thinks startup is a fad. They want to, shine. They want to start up. They want to do all.
It has become a trend, especially in Goa, if you see.
So startup is not easy.
Yes.
Startup is not easy. So you have to understand that if you really want to be successful, then you should not think about, just on a short term about 1 or 2 years and where every startup, which you put will be successful. You have to think about days where you will not do well and how you should keep going. It might take 3 years, it might take 5 years, it might take 7 years, for example. It does not matter when you start up, but whenever you start up, it matters on how you think and how you take the journey forward, basically, which means you have to have a lot of positive mindset. There'll be ups and downs. You have to have a lot of larger vision of what is that you want to do, what is the larger impact you want to create. You should always, think about, what is the problem you're solving, what is the value you are creating, but work towards it, like day in and day out. Have that 10 hours, 15 hours, go into it, so that whatever it takes to make it happen, because you are living a dream and you're living it only once, basically. So whatever it takes to make it successful, you get it done, basically. Never look back.
So one last question: what next? Another startup or continue with Bodami?
Yeah, so there's something which we are planning to do, which is never been attempted before. Now, if you see logically what we have done, we've got, we understand career counseling, we understand learning, we understand scholarship, we understand, let's say, corporate readiness, we understand recruitment. One of the areas where we are thinking that in the next 5 years, which are going to scale, is something called as entrepreneurship skill development, right? So imagine a platform where people can come in but go out as entrepreneurs, which is very systemic in nature, which has never been attempted before. So this is called as entrepreneurship skill hub. It's a skill hub platform,
right,
where not just individuals or job seekers, but also entrepreneurs would come in.
Yeah.
Either they will get out as job ready, or they will get out as entrepreneurs. And it requires a systematic intervention of assessing who you are, giving you that training, giving you that mentorship, for example, and then giving you, practices and tools for ideation and principles of entrepreneurship to then take you to the next level. So that is what we are planning. Something big, which is called as entrepreneurship skill hub.
Yeah. So all the best for that.
Thank you.
So this is it, guys. This is the end of your first podcast. My first podcast, rather. And okay, I said that was the last question, but I think let this be the last question to solve. So how was I, the host, Shubham?
Exceptionally good. I would love to have you at any point in time.
Thank you.
All the best.
Thank you. Subscribe to my channel, guys. I think even Service tell the same thing.
So, guys, subscribe to the Expert Geeks.
Yeah.